We had about 80 people sign up for this presentation. I know some of them love the recording because they'll watch it on their time. But welcome all to our Future Focus Texas webinar. Today's version is our partnership with College Spring and MyMajors. We'll go from about 11 to 12 today, and we're really excited to have this time with you. Here's your usual host for today. We will be introducing our presenters. We'll monitor the chat box, and we'll make sure that you have access to all the handouts or resources presented today. So if you don't know us, Yvonne, I, Danielle Gunder, and Jennifer Morataya are working with you again on this webinar. We're so excited, like I said, to spend this time with old friends and new friends. We had about 100 friends join us within this campaign in the last couple of months. So as we begin to see this light, I want to say at the end of the COVID tunnel, Future Focus Texas still stays steadfast in our mission to support college enrollment despite of any lingering effects of COVID-19. And we have joined together to do just that. Here is our agenda for today. We're going to do some quick introductions. We're going to do some announcements. And then College Spring will do their presentation with a Q&A section. So go ahead and start thinking of your questions, writing them down, putting them in the chat box. And then we'll have MyMajors present afterwards with some Q&A as well, keeping it simple. We did create this handout for you, and Danielle's going to put it into the chat box, and I'll try to put it as well if you need. But the handout, we try to put all the links in one spot. We will try to keep putting it in the chat box just in case, but see if you can open this. It has Future Focus Texas links. If you're not registered as a participant, we welcome you to opt into the campaign because we're going to go into the summertime with some summer melt initiatives. And then we have a feedback survey link that we're going to talk about, Discord event link, the presenter's bio, the most exciting part. And our presenters also have some handouts that they're going to share with you today, and that's in this handout. So please see if you can open it. See if the links work for you. If not, just chat to Danielle or Jennifer and let them know that it's not working. We'll make sure it works for you. We call it more of a conversation. All of our webinars are more of a conversation because we allow you to come off of mute. We allow you to chat, make comments, talk to each other, because we want it to be as engaging as possible. So please feel comfortable to do so. All right, our first announcement, guys, FFTX is nearing our first full school year. I cannot believe that we've been in existence for that long, but we want to be able to reflect back on what we've done well and what we need to improve on, and we're counting on your perspective to do so. So please fill out the survey. That survey link is in the handout. I think Danielle might even have access to put into the chat box. If you haven't done the survey, please give us, do that survey. And for a little bit of your time, we're going to give some winners. We're going to enter you to win a $50 gift card. As you can see, these two winners have already won. They're on top of it. But wink, wink, hint, hint, the amount might go up a little bit. So once you're in for the whole entire drawing until you win. And there's a high chance that you can. So please complete that survey for us so we know how to improve for upcoming years. The last announcement before we get into our amazing presenters today is our student-facing event. So the question is, do you have students who are undecided about their plans next year or could benefit from hearing about experiences and advice from current college students? If so, please give them the link. And again, the link is in the handout. Give them the link to the Next Year and Beyond, a Discord with current Texas college students. And Discord, if you're not familiar with it, they are more than I am, right? And we're going to have some student ambassadors there to kind of engage them in questions and sharing advice. It's a 2-hour event. It's really cool, a different way to present much needed information to students. And if you have any questions, you can chat in the chat box about that too. So our survey and our student event. All right, guys, let's jump into our presentation. Our first presenters is College Spring, and I'm going to read this. College Spring is a national provider of SAT preparation for students from low-income communities. Today, they will talk about their mission of ensuring that all students have equitable access to prepare for the test. In talking about their impact on district schools and students, they will dispel the myth that the test hurts rather than helps students. In this presentation, they'll include a walkthrough of their program and how it can help you achieve your goals and unlock your HB3 funding. And guys, they've been vetted. I'm excited about them. I think they're amazing. And our two presenters for today is Dr. Yoon Choi and I think I'm gonna mess up her name because I was calling her Kaylin, but Callan Papaski. She can come in and correct me. I don't mind to be corrected. But Yoon is the CEO of College Spring. Under her leadership, College Spring has supported hundreds of thousands of students who have reported over 104-point average increase on their SAT scores. If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. Kaylin Callan is the head of partnership of College Springs. She has spent the last decade working to support college admission initiatives in school districts throughout the country. Her passion for increasing equity and access led her to join College Spring in early 2019 to lead partnership development. And what I'm really impressed of, she was with one of the leaders in test prep for 10 years, Kaplan Test Prep. If you guys want to get a more extended version of their bio, again, that's in our handout. They're very exciting people to learn about, and I'm so happy to have them with us today. Before we jump in, our presenters want us to do a quick polling, and then I'm going to kick it off to them. Here's the first two questions. Polling can be done directly through your Zoom. Number one, in the state of Texas, SAT scores, A, can help unlock the CCMR outcome bonus in HB3. B, can be used instead of TSI assessment. Or C, both. See some answers coming in. And then the second one, you also can see that is the true and false. Test optional means students won't benefit from submitting test scores. True, false, I really just don't know. I'll give you a minute to think through those. I love the honesty. Some folks are like, I really don't know. And sometimes this is the best time. Like, hey, I don't know. Tell me. Let me know. All right. Give a couple of seconds and I'm going to end it and then have our presenters talk about the results and talk about the answers and start their own presentation. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Ending the poll now. All right, presenter, do you want to take it away? Let me share the results so y'all can see it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Good morning, everyone. I am Yoon Choi, and I am the CEO of College Spring. Thank you so much for taking the time to get warmed up with some trivia. So based on the answers, I can see that many of you do know that SAT scores can help unlock the CCMR outcome bonus and be used instead of the TSI assessment. But I also just want to emphasize that both of these statements are definitely true. Preparing your students for the test can do double duty. It can secure funding and it can reduce the number of tests and exams our high school students have to take overall. The true or false question is tricky because there are a lot of misconceptions about test optional. And I saw that a lot of people said, we just don't know. And I think, we share that sentiment. Sometimes it's hard to know, but what we do know for sure is that early data from this college admission cycle shows that at some schools, students who submit test scores are getting into college at double the rate of their peers. They are also eligible for more scholarships that hinge on hitting a score threshold. And although students are getting into college without taking the tests, the messaging from higher education has been loud and clear. Scores can still be a beneficial component of your application, which leads me to my next question, which is, can standardized tests be a springboard and not just a barrier? If you've been paying attention to testing over the past year, you know that the pros and cons of the SAT and ACT are very hotly debated. And often the conversation boils down to you are either for them or you're against them. These tests are fair or they're not fair. And these days, with test optional policies in the headlines, the other binary that we're hearing all the time is they matter, they don't matter. They'll count, they won't count. So before, I think it's a nuanced conversation, but I do want to tee up a set of questions that aren't necessarily related just to the tests themselves. These are questions about options. So, what do you hear when you learn that something is optional, like an optional meeting or an optional assignment? Given the choice, most would probably opt out, especially these days. Who wants an extra meeting? But what if I then told you it was an optional meeting to meet the CEO or an optional assignment related to an overall grade in a class? Most would reconsider. See, you don't have to attend the meeting, but there may be some advantages to meeting the CEO. And you don't have to do that extra assignment, but it's possible it could positively impact your grade. And it's not explicit that your opting in will count one way or the other, but it is an option and it exists for a reason. And you might have a mentor or parent encourage you to do the extra. Or you might have someone say, listen, you have a lot of things going on, or I have a lot of things going on. No guarantee it's going to help you. So let's just focus on some other things. Who do you have to be? What do you have to have? What position do you have to be in to really exert that choice? And historically, in looking at our education system and outcomes, which kids have been led to and offered the bare minimum and why? And who is focused on competitive advantage and why? We at College Spring believe that these are really important questions to ask when we think about whether or not these tests matter for our students. And here in Texas, even if it is optional in admissions, we know that this option plays a role in CCMR with TSI, placement in remedial courses. It definitely has more than simply one use. So, who is College Spring? We were founded as a nonprofit to work specifically with students who should have access to every option, but historically have not. These are students of color, low-income students, and first-generation students. And our mission is to use this one critical lever, standardized tests, to unlock more opportunities for students. Because we believe really deeply that every student can increase their test scores, and every student should have equal opportunity to prepare. And our goal was to bring this preparation inside the system, in schools where all students are, by embedding test prep in the school day and training and supporting teachers to implement our program. Every student can be reached. And by working with mission-aligned nonprofits, we also integrate their programs into their programs by working with their instructors as well. And we have had many partners over the past 13 years, and these are just a few of them. When we think about our district and school partners, we think about their or your goals. And that's why we've continued to have nearly 100% partner and teacher satisfaction every year. We fit into your schedules, your priorities, and your schools. And we also support nonprofit organizations. Collaboration is key in our space, and we can complement the existing services you're already providing to schools and teachers. And as the SAT experts, we've already developed the robust curriculum, resources, and training that you can leverage. We're also an HISD approved vendor for those of you in Houston, and we are on our way to being approved across the state. Now, Texas, we are excited to bring our program to you, and we've been meeting with districts, charter networks, and foundations across the state. And we've heard so much alignment between what we're trying to accomplish and the CCMR goals across districts in Houston, Dallas, et cetera, especially through HB3. What we're hearing is that districts are looking for ways to help students pass the TSI and to create the right supports for students earlier in their high school years. Helping students prepare for the SAT can not only unlock a higher score, but by crossing the 480 and 530, that also makes them TSI exempt. And that same score can, as we talked about, also unlock those CCMR outcomes bonuses, which can be worth hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, depending on the size and makeup of your district. And with the recently released ESSER funds, these funds can help districts and networks design and fund programming to unlock additional dollars through HB3. Now, in terms of our approach, we call our program our Test Confidence Program because it's a holistic program with 3 critical anchors. The first is our curriculum builds those core academic skills students need and may be behind in, as well as tips that help students do well on the test. The second, College Spring gives students the knowledge they need about the test, its history, its outcomes, and how it links to the college application process, and why the test matters and how they can leverage it. And then finally, we help them stay motivated and to develop a growth mindset. Students set goals for themselves and they see their scores changing over time. We make it easy for them to understand where they need more practice. And of importance is that we do all this through the teacher. So you're probably wondering about our outcomes. Yvonne mentioned them up front, but let's get to the data, which is something I know we all care a lot about. On average, our kids are scoring 100 points higher from their baseline to when they finish the program. They are more confident they can go to college, and we all know that mindset is so critical. And we double the number of students who meet the College Board's college readiness benchmarks in math and reading, which happens to be 10-10, which is also the benchmark score for the CCMR outcomes as well as TSI exemption. So that's just a little bit about us at a high level, a mission level. Happy to answer more questions. But for now, I'm going to pass it to my colleague, Colleen Papsicki, who can share a little bit more details about our partnerships and programs.
Thank you, Yoon. So hi, everyone. It's great to be here. As Yoon mentioned, I'm Colleen Papsicki. I'm our head of partnerships at College Spring. So we partner with districts, networks, and nonprofit organizations to bring SAT prep into the school day with the idea of giving access to your entire junior class, or as many of your 11th grade students as possible. Our program runs in 2 durations, the full academic year or a semester, which is typically in the spring. We all know that time during the day is precious. And so we're often asked, where in the school day do you fit? And the answer is it really depends on our partners and their master schedules. Some of our schools, Detroit Public Schools as an example, create an SAT prep class as a standalone class in their schedule. And we work with our partners to make sure that we're targeting the students who need us most. Others will use an advisory or a college class, a class like AVID, where we can fit into existing programming that's already in place, and there is a lot of alignment around college readiness. And then finally, some of our partners will use existing math or English classes, and we have teachers who dedicate 1 day a week specifically towards College Spring curriculum. So we work with our partners to figure out where we're going to fit best, but really what's most important is that the students are regularly getting at least 45 to 90 minutes of instructional time each week. So thinking about what we actually do and how we support our teachers, we know that teachers are incredibly busy. And if they're being asked to take on something additional, we want to make sure that we're providing a solution that is as supportive and comprehensive as possible and doesn't require a lot of extra work on their part. So College Spring provides ongoing support to our partners, which can be categorized into 4 key buckets: curriculum and resources, testing and analysis, teacher training and support, and district and network support. And I will go into each of these areas in a little bit more detail over the next couple of slides. So first up is curriculum and resources. College Spring has created a fully developed curriculum with student and teacher handbooks, and these are available in both hard copy and electronically. The teacher's editions have fully developed lesson plans, objectives, instructions for how to differentiate lessons for different students, including L students, engagement activities. We have built out an educator portal that has PowerPoints for each lessons, has quizzes that can be used as formative assessments, online activities like Kahoot games. Our teachers will create a customized pacing guide and scope and sequence based on the needs of your particular program, and then we'll make adjustments throughout the program. On the right side of your screen, we wanted to give you an example of how we structure our lessons. So we start with a warm-up activity to introduce the topic, and then we move into our learn section where a lesson is taught around a particular area of content or a particular strategy. It's really important for us that our students remain engaged throughout the class and not just lectured to. So from there, we move into an activity where students can apply what they've learned. And this could include a pair share or a gallery walk, could be small group work. From there, we move into wrap up, where students have the opportunity to reflect on what they've learned. Teachers can check for understanding through something like a fist for 5 to 5. And then there's additional practice available at different skill levels for students, so that can be used as an extension, additional practice, or even homework if needed. The second bucket is around diagnostic testing and analysis. So we offer practice tests throughout the course, and we really want to strike the right balance between having meaningful data, having students gain familiarity and building stamina with a test, but not crossing that line into over-testing students. So this usually results in us running 2 to 3 tests throughout the program. They're also available in hard copy and digitally. Students immediately gain access to their results, and we provide comprehensive score reports at the student, the teacher, the building, and the district levels. And this data is incredibly valuable. Students are setting goals at the beginning of the program, so this allows them to track their progress and see their growth. Teachers will meet with their instructional coach to analyze the data and determine what changes need to be made to best support their students. And at the building and district levels, math and English departments can use this data to see the biggest areas for growth within their classes and determine what changes they may want to make to overall curriculum. The third bucket is around teacher training and support. And one of the biggest differentiators between College Spring and other test prep organizations is really around the level of support that we give to our teachers. So we have full-time instructional coaches who are former classroom teachers themselves, and they work with our teachers throughout the program, not just prior to the launch. So they're doing virtual training prior to the start of the program. They're doing coaching sessions each month. They're supporting data analysis and providing ongoing guidance and support. They'll also do virtual observations throughout the program to see how we can best support our teachers. As a side note, we are currently hiring an instructional coach who will be based in Texas. So if you know of any great candidates, please send them our way. And then the last bucket is really around district and network support. So we partner really closely with our school, district, and network leaders to ensure that implementation runs smoothly and that we're tracking progress against our goals. So we'll be doing strategy and orientation meetings prior to the program starting and have regularly scheduled check-in points throughout the program. We also wanted a chance for you to hear more about College Spring from some of our students and teachers. So we're going to start a video and hope that it works from one of our partner schools in Santa Ana, California, where we run through their AVID program.
The SAT was terrifying to think about because it was a huge test that was going to last 3 hours, and I don't think anybody was prepared for that just yet.
So I was kind of nervous and scared.
I was just always messing around in class, I guess, but I feel like I learned my lesson once I took the first diagnostic test, and I got like a score of about like 900.
We are spending 1 day a week working on our SAT lesson, and that 1 day is a block period, so it's 90 minutes long. I'm really optimistic about it, and I don't want, Ms. Peterson and I really didn't want to burn the students out too early. So we wanted to make sure we kind of made it pretty manageable right now and then increase it. And what's been nice is we're using some of the college tutors to teach some of the lessons as well.
The fact that they just combined them into the same thing was actually really helpful, because now I knew what to expect. When I went into the classroom, I was like, oh, we're gonna do this for the SAT. And it's gonna get me prepared for what's gonna happen in a few weeks.
I liked it better that it was in class, because sometimes I couldn't go because they would offer after school, and like I would have college classes, so it would conflict. And I also had like other activities outside of school.
The fact that our teachers were able to teach us made it a lot more comfortable. If it had been somebody that like we didn't know, I would have felt uncomfortable asking for help.
And so being able to be an AVID teacher and be hands-on regarding the program, I think has helped us a lot, and myself especially, because it's one thing for me to say how important the SAT is, but not be the instructor. But now I can emphasize the importance of it and also follow up with teaching the lessons.
On the official SAT, if my memory doesn't betray me, I got a 1240.
On the official SAT, I ended up receiving a score of 1220. So from 900 to 1220, I'd say it was a significant boost up.
First PSAT, I got an 850, and then for the second one, I got an 870, and then the real SAT, I got 920, and then I just recently took it again, and I went up to 1020.
They are not all about the money, it's like, it's a nonprofit program geared for kids like ours.
My SAT score definitely is going to help me, because even if I don't end up getting into like maybe an art school, I could always do a major in art at a different school, and they'll definitely have a better idea, or I'll get a better chance of being accepted there with a better SAT score.
Her eligibility index, yeah, I feel like that will give me a higher opportunity to apply to like more schools than I had before.
A really good thing about College Spring is that they've been working with us really cooperative. We feel like we're on the same team with them.
So that just gives you a little bit of a sense of what some of our partnership looks like. So we wanted to just have a few key takeaways before we open it up for questions. I know we've shared a lot, so wanted to give you a few ideas for how you might think about our program or bring SAT prep into your school day. So first, the role of the SAT beyond just college admissions. That 480 in ELA and 530 in math can help students be TSI exempt. And we know so many districts are focused on that. And then it also helps districts qualify for additional CCMR outcomes bonus dollars. Second, thinking creatively about how to bring SAT prep into your school day through electives, AVID classes or other college classes, math and English classes. It can work. You just may have to think a little bit outside the box to figure out where it's going to fit best. And then finally, making sure all juniors have the opportunity to meaningfully prepare for the SAT, not just your top scorers or your most motivated students, but really, how can we help make these resources available to every 11th grader? So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with us. If you'd like more information, our contact information is here. And I think we have a few minutes for questions. So feel free to add them in the chat or ask.
Yeah, there's one question in the chat already. I do not work in a school district. We offer Saturday sessions twice per month. Would this program be able to adjust to this model?
We have worked with some programs to do programming on the weekends or after school. You mentioned our partnership with College Track. That is programming that happens outside of the school day through Saturdays or after school. So yes, it's definitely something we could talk to you about.
Any other questions? You can put them in the chat box or come off of mute to ask. I know it's a lot. If they want to think of more questions maybe later, we definitely have the handout with all of the contact information. So I want to really thank Colleen and Yoon for this wonderful presentation. And this is a continued conversation. So definitely we'll keep in touch. Thank you so much. All right. And then I'll have Jennifer introduce our next exciting presentation and presenter.
Yes, I'm excited to present our next speaker, Marie Stroll, who is passionate about supporting students with college preparation and access. She is currently the Senior Account Executive at MyMajors, and you're going to hear all about the MyMajors program, which offers an online college major assessment for students, and it recommends them a best fit major that matches their academic achievement, aptitude, interests, and preferences. So welcome, Marie, and the Zoom floor is yours.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can figure this out because we don't normally use Zoom here, but if I need to share my screen, it looks like I want to click on this. So that should work, right? Can you all see my screen okay?
I'm still seeing you on screen, I believe.
Well, maybe, let's see.
Perfect. That is it.
Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
All right. So let me see if I can advance this here. Okay, so thanks again for having me. MyMajors were a services and software company, both based out of the Kansas City, Missouri area. We work with hundreds of colleges and universities nationwide, and then we also support high school student populations, guidance counselor departments at that level with a lot of support and things that they should be thinking about before they leave high school. Our mission is to help each student complete their degree, support with the informed choice process and purpose development. This is kind of an area that I'm very passionate about, obviously, but there's a really high percentage of students that do, surprise, surprise, leave the high school experience still being fully aware of that elephant in the room, which is, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? What do I want to major in? And what is that pathway and opportunity going to look like for me? Students are often prepared for college more or less academically, socially, but there's a lot of components where they have not yet experienced all that life has to offer, some of those workforce, environmental experiences to kind of prepare them. I like to say, help them become very affirmed with what that purpose and passion is going to look like. We know that declared is not decided. That's one of my favorite phrases right now, because at the collegiate and university level, after your students leave the high school experience, a high percentage of them go on to lack that future sense of self and purpose. But more than that, lacking the appropriate development that will support them in getting to that point. Some of our research that we kind of follow closely with ACT, the NCES, 50% of students are unsure of what that major choice is going to look like, even when they're applying to the college process. 80% of students we know go on to change their major at least once, if not twice, 3 times, or even more times while they're in the college experience. So we focus a lot on some proactive versus that reactive support, which is what your colleges and universities kind of scramble to do sometimes. So we reach on both lines of the spectrum to colleges and institutions that we work with, but also for awareness to our high school partnerships, high school guidance counselor departments, because that is one of those big secret ways to supporting that longer term student success, is helping them find that purpose, find that pathway, ideally before they leave the high school experience. Like I said, we're based in Kansas City, Missouri. We've worked very closely with a lot of national stakeholders like the Science Foundation. We were an innovation grant winner. We've spent more than 50 plus years serving education entities, more than 400 colleges and universities. Millions of students nationwide have been through our programming. Our primary partnerships exist with colleges and universities, including the state of Texas. Texas happens to be our largest state for partnership. So I know everything's bigger in Texas, and that's kind of true to us as well. And so one thing I definitely want to share with you all, and I'll have our facilitators send out some more documentation to you, which institutions in the state of Texas have actually partnered with us to develop their own private label type technologies with us. This is a free benefit to your students at the high school level, because not only can they participate in free resources with us on our public facing site, but then when you're aware of specific universities that they're interested to pursue, both in the state of Texas and surrounding states, they may be able to take advantage of some further private programming that that institution has developed in partnership with us. So I'm going to share more about that with you guys a little bit too. So one big question is, how do high school students and counselor departments leverage our MyMajors.com website? So if you go to MyMajors.com today, that is our public facing website. It's a free site, a lot of free resources, information about colleges, information about careers, majors, and beyond. We also provide a lot of developmental tools that your students can take advantage of. And we have a lot of high school guidance counselor departments that will take advantage of these tools as well. In fact, one other document that I can send to you all for the high schools that are interested is I can pull data for you that indicates how many students that you have at your respective high school that have been engaging on our public MyMajors.com site. Now, for some high schools in Texas, that's kind of a no-brainer because they're already familiar with us. They've already been using the public site for a lot of specific programming that you're utilizing at the school. And other high schools say, well, we had no idea we had this many students that were, taking advantage of this resource. So on the public facing site, again, this is a top resource for a lot of college specific information and resources that your students can use, career, major explorations, assessments, lots of developmental tools. We're also a top resource for a lot of career labor market trend data. Kind of beginning with that end in mind. Students often want to go to that end. Well, I'm interested in these careers, but what does that prospective outlook look like in the next 5 to 10 years as well? A lot of post-high school preparation and guidance. And then we do also have guidance counselor accounts that are available. These are both free dashboards and accounts for counselors, in addition to more specific paid opportunities where the counselors can have access to more customized data collection and other bells and whistles that you can receive with those accounts on the public facing site. I won't really go into that a lot in detail today, simply because if you have that interest, once you get involved with our public site, if you have that interest to see what additional capabilities we have available, just feel free to reach out and we can coordinate a more customized webinar for you all. But that would include things like customized data to collect about your students, increase features for data analytics, filters capabilities. And then of course, we do a lot of branding and customization to high schools or to institutions as well. And again, after our call today, I'm going to break here in just a second and cut live to our public facing site. So I can kind of walk you through a couple of key features. But again, after our call today, I am going to send you a list of all the state of Texas, surrounding states, some of our national partnerships as well, because I do believe that that would be important for your students to also not only have access to our public facing site, but also have access to the private label versions that some of these colleges and universities have developed, because that will help the students then further, the unique processes and next steps and customizations to that university's majors on campus. So I'll kind of come back to that here in just a second too. I'm pulling in a different screen right now. Did this pull in okay for you guys? I'm now showing, or should be showing, the MyMajors.com public facing website. Does that
Yes,
show
we
up?
see it.
Okay. So this is the MyMajors.com public website. Again, your students can utilize this at any time. Lots of information, tools, resources. They can go through assessments, kind of helping them do some real deep reflections, not only about the interests and kind of that persona information, but also helping them dig really deeply on their aptitudes, skills, abilities, their grades from high school, dual credit type classes. We also help them reflect on a lot of holistic life circumstance type information, such as I'm a first generation college student. I have no idea what I'm doing, versus students that feel, pretty confident, students that are adult returning learners that have kids at home. So many people participate in the public website. There are links up here at the top. You can click on for students, for college administrators, for high school administrators, gain access to some additional features. But one thing to point out again, this is a site your students can use to click on lots of different colleges, information about majors, careers, and beyond. They can even go so far as to search. I'm just going to do a search for University of Texas. We'll do Rio Grande Valley, just as an example. We maintain a lot of profile data on every college university nationwide. This is updated live with iPads information as well. So this will help the students kind of get that snapshot glance of the institution, different types of majors that they offer, admissions processes, and so forth. So again, there's lots of different features, lots of different tools that they can utilize on the public site. The purpose of this presentation today is just to bring a little bit of more awareness to that, in case your high schools are not currently utilizing it to its full capacity, but chances are you do have students that are using this public site. You just might not know about it. So again, after our call today, I can pull some data to kind of indicate that. Now, one thing that I also mentioned is we have a lot of partnerships with our Texas colleges, universities, and then even beyond. And so one interesting thing that I can also pull up and share with you guys today on our call, I'm going to just pull up Texas Lutheran as an example. We also develop private versions of our technology for colleges and universities. This helps the student not only connect with their unique processes on campus, but also getting mapped to their specific opportunities that they offer, which I think is the biggest claim to fame about the MyMajors technology. So historic tools, I think, in higher education have attempted to do a good job of, hey, Jennifer, hey, Susan, hey, Yoon, these are, your kind of ideas for pathways that you're thinking about. These are some broad career clusters that you might be interested in, but it's often presented to students in a very overwhelming way. So literally, here's A to Z, 100 majors or careers that you can consider. And for a lot of new incoming students, I feel that just kind of creates that deer in headlight moment. It's hard enough to get through the college process in itself. It's even a bigger thing to tackle that. What do you want to do with your life type conversation? So the really awesome thing about this technology is when the students take the private version of the technology for a college or university, they're not only going to help the student reflect on those larger meta areas and career clusters, but they're also going to help the student get recommended to their specific majors and their unique requirements that they have at that university. So for example, the biology program at Texas Lutheran, it does differ slightly in terms of requirements than University of Texas at Austin or Texas Southern or anywhere else that a student might be looking at going to. So what I love about it is that once the student completes the private version of the program with the university, they're going to get recommended and mapped to a top 10, top 5 list, whatever the university wants to do, but a list of their specific majors. Where should the student start that exploration process, and what might be a best fit for them in terms of a lot of that holistic data that they're walking the student through. From there, it's kind of an interactive form, so the student can click through, read about each one of those programs, majors that the university is offering. And then over here on the right, it's up to the university what else they want to incorporate into this program. So every college and university, I will say, develops this program a little bit different, because they want things presented to students in a different way. Their processes on campus can be dramatically different, as you can imagine. And so the types of information that Texas Lutheran, for example, might pull in and integrate, links, additional things that the student might participate in to further the development, further the conversation, may be different slightly, like I said, than Texas Southern or UT at Austin or anywhere else. The other nice thing about the private version of the technology, if your students are interested in any of those colleges or universities, is they usually pull in and integrate next steps and kind of like a guiding resource for their students. What should I be doing next according to where I'm at in the process? If I'm not even an applied student at Texas Lutheran, I may click here to apply for admissions or click here to schedule a campus visit. If I'm already a current student at that institution, like in the case of this example, they provide that student with some additional next steps, like click here to make an appointment with their advisor, click here to connect, make an appointment with career services. So there's lots of additional customizations that these colleges and universities will develop above and beyond our public MyMajors.com site. So hopefully that kind of makes sense a little bit, what we do on the public facing site versus what some of the colleges and universities may also offer to your students as an additional resource to really get them, I think, a personalized approach to that institution. So the student is really aware of what they should be thinking about or doing next if they're really serious about attending that institution. So I'm going to pause here for a little bit more time and answer some questions too. Again, I'll have some resources to send to our facilitators today. They can route that information back to you, including which students at your respective high schools may already be participating on the public MyMajors.com site. And of course, we're available for some more of those individual training sessions or additional conversations per high school district if you have interest in that after the call. But thank you so much again. Any questions or clarification that I can provide about the public facing site versus what we might do in partnership with some of those colleges and universities?
Just one quick question. Can I have the link for the TLU?
Yeah, tlu.mymajors.com is the link to their private version of that technology. Now, we do ask that you don't complete their actual program as an adult, because you will end up in their dashboard and they will start recruiting you as a student. However, if you do want access to a private version that we've developed with a college or university, just to test out their private version, send me an email and let me know, because what I'll do is I'll set up a special email account and log in for you so that they don't receive you as a student. You're just an adult testing out the program.
Yeah, I had the same question the last time we met, Marie. Yeah, like, can I have access to this? You know,
You sure
an
can, but if
amazing
you
tool.
if you test it out today without that specialized login, you're going to
Mhm.
get recruited.
Exactly. Any other questions? Here we go. Is there a fee to access these resources to create an account?
No, the technology and resources are completely free. So the public website has a lot of free resources you can utilize. Now we do partner with our colleges and universities. They are in an opportunity for us to develop that private technology with them. However, it is free for high school students. So once a university or college has that private label access to the tech, your students can gain access to that completely free as well. There are additional opportunities for guidance counselor departments and other staff at the high school level. Like I said, if you want more customized and robust things that we do with those dashboard accounts on the public website, that can be a future conversation. But otherwise, those counselor accounts are also free on the public facing website.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. Like, this is free, and a lot of
I
great stuff in there.
know we're a little too
Yeah,
good to be true.
it really is. Like, and it matches. Is it correct that it matches them to a specific major at a specific college, or is it just the major, then they find the college, or does it have that extra link
Yeah.
to the college as well?
That's a good question. So the private label technologies that we develop with colleges and universities is getting very specific, obviously, to their majors and what they actually offer for opportunities on campus. The public facing website is going to help students take a little bit more higher level approach because obviously we don't have majors, we're not an institution. But the biggest, developmental piece of this technology and research that we did with the National Science Foundation is that we want it to have a high reliability and validity for students. So, I know I've been in education a long time as well. We've all seen lots of different tools under the sun. Things like here, take this hour-long assessment and we'll tell you 1,000,001 careers you can go into, or answering very eyebrow raising questions sometimes. Do you like building shelves or working with animals? Okay, we'll give you a report that tells you exactly that. And so that was a big, research indicator from the NSF, is that they wanted to support the development of a tech that has that higher reliability, validity. So that's the reason why we don't ignore the students' concrete historic skills, abilities, aptitudes, grades from high school, grades from college if they're already a college student. So there's lots of holistic data that goes into play with that back-end technology when we help recommend students to, meta majors or career clusters, or in the case of a university, their specific programs. So I think that's one of the big things that you'll find with this tech, is that it has a lot more reliability to support students long-term, and a lot more success long-term too, in helping the students stay on track, matriculate when they're at the institutions, not spend 5, 6, 7 years deciding what they want to do and or flip-flopping majors on campus.
Thank you for that. Another question. How often are the list of major minors updated? If, for example, a school offers psychology with a neuroscience track, will the list display that they offer neuroscience?
Yeah, so all of our our data is updated with IPEDS information. We also collaborate and work with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of institutions nationwide. So they're constantly approaching us about more frequent updates than maybe because IPEDS is usually always a semester or two behind. And so we have a lot of overachievers, I guess I'll say, of institutions that reach out and, hey, our logos change, or we know that this change is coming up with one of our programs that we're no longer going to offer. And so in that case, we can update it sometimes more frequently than what we do on IPEDS data.
Any other
Good.
questions?
Yeah, really good questions.
Yeah, really. I love it. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you guys again so much for facilitating.
Thank you, Marie, for that amazing presentation. I've probably met with Marie 100 times because I want to know more and learn more and share it out. Danielle just shared a few links for the survey and for a handout for this presentation. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And I hope there's a lot of key takeaways. But again, this is a continued conversation. Both our partners are willing to meet with you and your districts individually to kind of dig in deeper to see if it's a good fit for your students and your faculty. And if no other questions, continue to share the resources. I just want to quote one of our Amazon recipients. She's like, I don't care about the Amazon card. The resources that Future Focus Texas is providing is an award and a reward enough. So if you feel that way, we love you guys and we hope that you do share this information with others. The recording and the links will be shared in our Tuesday newsletters. And until next time, I wish you all a wonderful day and a great end of your school year. Take care.
Thank you, ladies. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.